9.3 Nigeria Info come back from the sports studios. We're back in the Morning Crossfire studio right now, full time. It's time for us to take a look at the big headlines on the papers this morning. I am Sheriff Quadry.
And I'm Wemimo Adewuni. Good to have you this Monday morning. It was so exciting speaking with you all during the chit chat as schools resume today. School runs, the roads will be so full. Teachers are back to work. Parents are heaving a sigh of relief. And we are here to run you through the stories making it to the front of the pages. We're streaming live on Facebook, also on YouTube. You can watch us there. You can also take us with you anywhere you go. Listen on our website, nigeriainfo.fm.
That's right. We'll be looking at the Vanguard this morning. The Daily Independent is also here on the table. The Punch as well as the Blueprint.
And I have here the Guardian newspaper, our media partner, the Daily Sun, the New Telegraph, and also the Nation newspaper. These papers, we'll be looking at these stories here. And Rotimi Sankore join us this Monday morning. Rotimi, good morning.
Morning.
All right, if you are ready, we are. Our Twitter is at Nigeria Info FM. Make sure to use the hashtag Frontpages or Morning Crossfire so we can read all your comments. Let's take these from The Guardian. You find the story. Panic over fresh xenophobic protests as malls closure lingers. This is on the front page of The Guardian. It's also on the Daily Sun. South Africans insist foreigners must go. Armed protesters march on streets. 400 Nigerians are ready for evacuation, says Mission. Banner headline on the New Telegraph. Xenophobic attacks. Federal government evacuates 400 Nigerians. Air Peace airlifts first batch from South Africa on Wednesday. Mission provides emergency travel certificate. Nigerians, we've lost our means of livelihood. South Africans to foreigners, leave our country. Also the banner headline of the Nation. 400 Nigerians to return as South Africans step up attacks. One killed, many injured in another anti-foreigners protest. Buhari's envoy Ramaphosa pledged peace. But you find a photo here on the front page of the Nation of South African protesters on the streets of Johannesburg yesterday, armed with sticks. And of course, they're not smiling.
No, they're not. The Vanguard newspaper, xenophobia, leave our country. Armed South Africans order foreigners. Riders, our lives are in danger. That's credited to Nigerians. Over 400 Nigerians ready for evacuation from South Africa, says Consul General. Serap asks African Commission to sue South Africa, seeks $10 billion for victims. Vanguard front page with that headline. You could also see the caption showing South African protesters armed with sticks. That's right, the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Moving on to the front page of the Daily Independent, xenophobic violence erupts again in Johannesburg. Daily Independent newspaper. Banner headline from the Punch newspaper just below the nameplate. One killed in South African fresh attack. FG begins evacuation. Riders, 400 Nigerians ready to return home. Hoodlums insist foreigners must go. Nigerians in detention for visa violations to be repatriated. The Punch newspaper for you this morning. Rotimi, did you see the video?
It's up on our Instagram page on Nigeria Info. If you missed it over the weekend, you see a group of people, about 1,200 or 500 thereabout, chanting and singing and dancing and asking foreigners to just leave their country.
I mean, sadly, for those of us that joined the anti-apartheid movement as school kids, I mean, this is just really, terrible to watch. The South African government is not doing enough on two fronts. One is on the law and order front to protect non-South Africans living in South Africa. I mean, only the South African government can put down, in quote, a show of force using the police, to protect non-South Africans.
Is it possible, like one of our guests told us once, that the South African police is also not well equipped to manage these issues?
The lower ranks of the South African police is not much better than the Nigerian police.
So we might have that issue. They're unable to police the
in
state.
terms of education, in fact, in some places, the South African police is worse. And the reason is this. Hundreds of thousands of South Africans were subjected by the white minority apartheid regime to substandard education that prepared them to be nothing more than houseboys, gardeners. And even within South Africa, they are not well traveled or exposed. During the apartheid regime, anybody that read those books in secondary school or university will recognize what I'm saying about the past laws, where at that time, if as a black South African you wanted to go, for instance, from VI to Obalende or from VI to Lekki, you had to go to a police station or to a local government to apply for a pass to move between local governments. And if you were arrested at, in quote, the local government border, and you had not been given that permission, you would be locked up. So many South Africans have a very restricted view of the world because of, one, the substandard education imposed on them. Two, historically, they could not even travel to know what is happening in the next local government, talk less of next country or globally.
But since 1994, I mean, we can see obviously there's bad governance in
yeah,
place.
So that's the other side of it. The South African, the ANC in particular, the ruling party, has failed to deliver on the election promises made at the end of apartheid to build over 1 million homes, to build tens of thousands of schools, to
provide
do vocational
jobs.
training, to do job skills. In other words, to improve both the enlightenment level and the education and human capacity. I mean, they failed to do it. Hence, some politicians in the ANC and even from some other parties, and I tweeted this last week, it's probably not still far from the top of my Twitter handle, a piece in one of South Africa's leading papers, the Mail and Guardian, which explains how a certain category of South African politicians, rather than accept that they failed to deliver on education, vocational training, job skills, are blaming foreigners for crime, for stealing South African jobs, even some as very low blow of stealing South African women, whatever that means.
As usual with African countries, government, people in government hardly, agree that they're not meeting up to the status quo. But the question again would be, why are the people not asking the government questions?
Like I said, the level of enlightenment is really
and
low.
It seems to have been deliberately kept at that
Well,
pace.
the apartheid regime kept it deliberately low, and the ANC maybe has not achieved 25, 30, 40% of their initial election promises, depending on where you are. I mean, in some places, some people will argue, when I read the South African papers, that they've not even achieved 10%.
Right.
I mean, places where there is a lot of open defecation, no house toilets. If you go to those, because post-apartheid, I mean, I really went around South Africa every opportunity that I got. Because if you were part of the anti-apartheid movement, you were really curious to know what happened. And between then and now, I've probably been to South Africa about 40 or so times. And some places it's terrible to see how black people are living there. So unless the ANC and the other government, because they are not the only government, there are other regional governments, unless they deal with those issues in addition to providing police protection for non-South Africans.
Nigeria Info is staying on this story, so make sure you're following us on all of our social media handles to get updates as we bring them to you.
All right, let's move on to other stories this morning. PDP asks Buhari to resign, save judiciary from further trouble. That's over certificate saga. It's coming from Daily Independent newspaper this morning.
And it's also here on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Atiku versus Buhari verdict is likely on Friday. It makes the banner headline of The Guardian. PDP asks Buhari to resign over alleged no certificate plea. Banner headline also on the Daily Sun. As tribunal delivers judgment this week, anxiety grips Buhari Atiku supporters. You find these here. Also on the front page of the New Telegraph. Okay, no. So that's it. Friday is almost here, Rotimi.
Well, it's almost here after a long wait.
But asking the president to resign.
No, I mean this is normal.
This
is normal.
The case is almost wrapping up.
Now we know what to expect from PDP, and it's not to say that APC will behave better in the same circumstances,
right?
You know, but I think PDP is just being a bit rascally there. I mean they should just wait until Friday. This is Monday. This is Friday. Whichever way the tribunal verdict goes, asking Buhari to resign on Monday.
Well, they're asking him to resign from office because the information minister, Lai Mohammed, already, according to this report, allegedly admitted that the president was not in possession of the required certificate, and Lai Mohammed had begged Nigerians to pardon him. So, saying, why are you begging us if you don't have certificates? Just resign.
I'm not entirely convinced that Lai Mohammed can admit on behalf of anybody.
Especially Lai Mohammed.
It was even an old video. It was a pre-2015 video.
Yes, but whether... I've seen the report saying that, or saying it is in quote fake news, but I don't think Lai Mohammed is in a position to admit on behalf of anybody that they don't have something that they claim that they have.
Especially because he's the information minister for the country and not the president's spokesperson.
That has been one. I mean, let us even set aside that it may be an old or edited out of context video or whatever. In general terms, one of the things that the Minister of Information needs to pick up, whoever it is, whether it is Lai Mohammed or any of his successors, they are not the minister for the ruling party.
Right.
They are Minister of Information for everybody in the country, including those that did not vote for their party.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's an important aside for the current Minister of Information and the next ones going forward. But on the certificate, saga or not, everyone has a view on whether the president actually has the school SATs, as described.
But just presenting the certificates, if the certificate really is there.
So, yes, okay, so there are some issues there. The original was said to be with the army, that. A certified true copy has been presented. Look, if the courts are happy with it,
there's nothing anybody
and INEC is happy with it, I mean, people will just have to let the matter lie.
Right.
So let's see what happens on Friday.
Let's see this headline coming in from Edo State. Oshomole says Obaseki wrong on Edo House. That's the headline here on the Nation newspaper. It's also here on the Daily Sun. Obaseki Oshomole new hostilities. New Telegraph. Oshomole says PDP candidate is not a walkover. You find these here on the front page of the New Telegraph. They said just some weeks ago that they were not fighting. And there was the media trying to paint them bad.
The poor media. Now, Oshomole called that same media to explain that even the one commissioner he nominated, Obaseki removed him. But we are not quarreling.
Right.
We are not quarreling.
And it's the media trying to paint it so.
He's free to do as he likes.
Well, let me tell you what this story is on page 10 of the Nation newspaper. The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Comrade Adams Oshomole, has said that Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki was wrong to have inaugurated the House of Assembly in the night. This matter is still on the table. The former Edo State governor was reacting to rumors of his strained relationship with the governor through a statement by his special advisor on media, Simon Ebegblen. Well, so they say. Let me quote him. The APC national chairman dismissed claim by the quote-unquote controversial Speaker of the House of Assembly that he wanted to impeach the governor with members-elect who were loyal to him. He says, what offense did the governor commit that he was to be impeached? Oshomole said he did not recognize Frank Okiye as Speaker of the House of Assembly, said he would not be a party to what he called illegal decisions and actions that could derail the nation's democracy.
The entire nation. not just Edo anymore.
Not just
Yeah.
Edo.
It's
Right.
national
The
chairman,
matter-
so it needs to, broaden the scope so you can get the full gist. Read more on the Nation newspaper for more on that story.
It's here on the Daily Independent as well. You can find the same story on the Punch newspaper as well. It's like quite big.
Bureau of Public Procurement story. I mean, it is not necessarily on the front page of every paper,
Because I've not seen it here.
but some papers are carrying it as a sub-headline. That $25 billion over inflation in contracts awarded by ministries and parastatals. I suspect it's going to become bigger and bigger because
What
I mean,
with
the
Sheyi
presidency-
Makinde opening the lead
the
over those
presidency
kind
will
of
have
flies?
to find these people who inflated ministry and parastatal
and where the
contracts
monies went to.
by 25 billion naira after 4 years of war and corruption.
I remember
So-
a minister, I think it's Chris Ngige, who while addressing the staff of the ministry, saying that if anybody is colluding with an outside force to inflate the ministry's budget, they will be dealt with. So perhaps this is real.
It's going
Oh,
to get
so
bigger.
I'm
It's a
very sure.
sub-headline in some papers. It's going to get bigger this week.
Right,
It's just important to flag.
right.
Indeed. Let's move on now to our next story. U.S. court discharges NNPC of $2.7 billion debt to ESSO. That's ESSO. It's coming from Daily Independent newspaper. At least that's some good news there. You can find similar story here on the front page of Blueprint newspaper. $2.7 billion liability to ESSO. Shell. U.S. court acquits NNPC. That one is from the Blueprint newspaper.
And this is all coming from arbitration issues all over again. Let's see page 5 of the Daily Independent. A U.S. Southern District Court of New York has delivered judgment in favor of the NNPC against ESSO Exploration and Production Nigeria Limited and Shell Nigerian Exploration and Production Company Limited, collectively called ESSO. The corporation disclosed this in a statement issued by Ndu Ngamadu, who's a spokesman for the corporation, on Sunday. You can recall that a court hearing was held on February 1st in the protracted litigation arising from the disputes between NNPC and ESSO regarding the implementation of the production sharing contract dated, May 21, 1993. ESSO referred its claim to arbitration in Nigeria and obtained an arbitral award of $1.799 billion on October 2011, with annual interests running at LIBOR plus 4%. NNPC challenged the award at the Federal High Court in Abuja in 2012, and the court ordered that the arbitration be set aside. So finally, NNPC won this one. That's the story.
Well, thank goodness somebody was paying attention and following that
Yes.
matter. If not, that would have been another award
Right.
against Nigeria. But I think the NNPC is probably more responsive to these things than the Nigerian states as a whole.
We've done really badly. Really, really badly.
The NNPC is still a loss-making entity. So I don't think they could afford such a huge loss in addition to the inability to make profits.
All right. Running at a loss while doing business. CCB assesses Makinde's 48 billion naira assets. You find this headline on the front page of The Nation. Governor Sheyi Makinde seems to be shining the past few days.
The poster boy of the PDP.
Yeah, I mean, he's just shining everyone around, saying, "Ooh, I found out where all the money goes to. This is why the projects are not completed, and I will complete all those projects, and I shouldn't catch anybody spending money that's meant for the projects."
Well, I mean, it all looks shiny and impressive so far, but I urge people to be patient. It's just 100 days. So
Oh, don't be so pessimistic.
no, look, it's public office, it's public policy.
Anything could change at any time.
There is almost 4 years to go.
Right.
So the real measurement is not what happens. It's like a 100-meter race. You start off the blocks very well, But look, you have to build the schools, you have to train the teachers, you have to fix all the roads, you have to build all the hospitals, there are so many things to be done.
Yeah, and the teachers applauded him also for their 100 days.
Yeah,
so.
also all looking reasonably good so
for
far.
now.
Yeah, but almost 4 years to go.
Yeah, so let's watch out and
Indeed.
see where that leads us. You can find more headlines across the papers today.
And this
I
particular
mean, not just
headline
him,
is
all the
all the
governors.
governors.
We will be looking at the Lagos State government's first 100 days by 8 a.m. just in some minutes from
I mean,
now.
in case anybody missed it, I mean, Ganduje got a prize for best governor in the first 100 days.
Right.
So, I mean, that tells you a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's leave it at that.
Daily Independent newspaper, $9.6 billion UK court judgment, how Nigeria bungled its case with PNID. You can go and read up on that report if you want. The Daily Independent newspaper is the paper for you. From the Vanguard newspaper, $9.6 billion judgment debt. FG to push for abrogation of huge cash award. Rider, how project failure affected Adex Petroleum's plan to end gas flaring in OML 123. This is an inside report by Vanguard newspaper.
If you need to learn more about the PNID case, you can just go through any of the papers or just go online, do a quick search and read through to understand.
I hope the government can find a legal means to
I hope so.
To try and wriggle
Topple
out of
this.
yeah. I mean,
it looks really tight.
It's too. Anytime I hear about this matter, it's just annoying. I mean, to not attend a whole country, to not attend arbitration.
Yeah. In a contract that you entered into and signed.
Especially when there is a new government, the first thing you should be doing is let's
what
review.
problems,
look at the books.
Yes. Let's review all the contracts entered into by the previous government. Let's make sure there is nothing going on that we should miss, anything that is wrong. I mean, this is not private individual. That could
even
be
a private, with
you know?
other things.
Yeah, I mean, private individuals can probably be overwhelmed by issues, lack of resources to follow up, just not understanding what is happening. But a government,
and it means they're just
and
more than enough people.
And if there was something wrong with that
things.
contract, as some people are alleging from the beginning, the more reason why
we should have
over
attended.
the weekend, there was a report that the son of Queen, the founder of PNID, reached out to the federal government to say, let's settle this thing. And they're proposing Spain for the meeting.
Spain?
Yeah.
As per how?
So they want to settle out of court, according to that.
So why are we going to Spain?
So, well, he's invited them as the son of Queen.
He's inviting the whole... Oh, gosh. Inviting Nigeria to Spain.
I'm not sure of the details there, but I will just emphasize that if there is any legal way to reduce...
Wiggle out of this.
To reduce... I think the best that can be done is a reduction.
Right.
To a manageable sum. If there is any way to do that, the federal government should really push ahead with it.
And
very quickly.
Quickly too. Lawyers have argued about how this could work, but we just have to wait. You can see other headlines across the papers today as we leave. Nigerians spend 38 billion naira on mobile SMS in 12 months. You guys are very rich.
Let me get Rotimi's view on this particular
Is that because
story.
people don't have enough money to make calls?
Rotimi, listen to this. Shiites, their security agents vow to hold Ashura procession.
And that's tomorrow, by the way.
That's tomorrow.
Well, look, the Ashura thing, I hope that
it's a religious procession.
I hope that the police, and more importantly, the army, realize that Ashura is like Easter procession, or like, I mean, this is the one
or like
that Shias do globally. I hope they will have the common sense to put just enough police
to ensure that
there is peace and that the protest goes, without any event. I suspect that any attempt to, I mean, it will just be like the police or army stating that Christians will not be allowed to proceed on their Easter, So it's really important that it is handled carefully. I think negotiations, if it hasn't been done, should be done today.
Yeah, to
with the
ensure
leadership
that-
of the Shia movement.
Yeah.
And I would recommend that those negotiations go along the lines of, okay, so we recognize that this is a global thing that you do, you know. How do we manage it to ensure it does not turn into a protest that then turns violent?
Right, let's
this
read
is
some
a religious
comments.
thing.
Baby, as we go, Obashola Fumi on Twitter says South Africans want foreigners to leave. Let foreigners leave and we will see where they will go. You don't do that kind of thing. That's okay. I don't really understand. But on Facebook, we have a lot of messages also. Let's read this one from Dr. Mrs. Ma Olebara from Owerri, who says, all these killings in Nigeria, how much longer will this
All
agony?
the way from Owerri.
All the way from Owerri. And she
Thank
joins us
you,
every
madam.
morning now. I see her messages quite regularly on Facebook.
Thank you.
She goes on to say, when is a nation failed or failing? The barometer for measuring it is easily readable. The readings include system failure, insecurity, corruption, anti-democratic tendencies, and so on. Dr. Amanambu Uchena is also one of our consistent listeners or viewers on Facebook. It says xenophobic attacks against Nigerians in South Africa. This is very scary for human existence. I'm yet to understand why someone's years of wealth and labor can be senselessly burnt down in a
This
twinkling
issue of
twinkle of an eye.
compensation for Nigerians that have lost property, it needs to be taken very, very seriously.
Absolutely.
People can't go there, spend 20 years, lose everything, and
And you
come
say
back
nothing
and
can
come
be done.
back with nothing. And the
Right.
South African government will say that
There's nothing they can do about it.
I mean, they fail to protect the people.
Let's leave now. Let's just go for a quick break. When we come back, we're appraising the Lagos State government in the past 100 days. First 100 days. Let's see how well they've done. The Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Motosha, will be joining us. Rotimi Sankore is also here. Gbenga Onisila would also join us. And our State House correspondent, Maureen Ogolo, who's been covering the governors over the years, would also be joining us to tell us what she's seen in the past 100 days. Join us for more after the break. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
I'm Sheriff Quadry.